If you want to take your reselling business from doing $500 to $1,000 a month or a couple $1,000s a month of actual net profit and take it to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 net profit, right? If you have that goal, if you have that ambition, you have to understand if you're right here and you want to get here, it's not just a straight line. A lot of people think that in order to, go from 1,000 a month to 20,000 a month, it's just a matter of working harder, right? It's just a matter of spending more money. It's just a matter of putting more systems and more processes in place. And while all of that is true, right? Let's be 100% real. If you want to go from 1,000 a month to 10,000 a month in profit on Amazon, you're going to have to spend a lot more money. You're going to have to invest a lot more money. You're going to have times where you're not going to cash flow. And this brings me to the main point of the video is a lot of people want the result. They want to 3x, 5x, 10x their business. But what they don't realize is it's not a straight line. You don't go from point A to point B, right? It's kind of like you go up and then you come down and then you go up and then you come down. You go from 500 a month up to 1,200 and then you're doing great and then boom, something happens and you have a massive return or some issues or you get a suspension and you go down to 700 a month and then you figure it out and you go to 2,000 a month. Then you spend more money, you have cash flow issues, you're not really growing, you're like, this sucks, this stinks, but you meet somebody or watch a video or find a software or a strategy or something and then, boom, it takes off to 5,000 a month and then you're like, wow, I figured it out. Like, I don't understand why they overthink this. You just got to spend more money. You just got to find a strategy, so on and so forth. And then their sales plateau and they realize, holy crap, like maybe this isn't as easy. And they get, they beat themselves up and now they go from 5,000 profit down to 3,000. And then they're like, wait, hold on. I just saw this video, will learn from a mastermind that if I get a VA and I leverage this and that, and I'm going crazy now. And then they find their way at 7,000 a month. The point is, it's not just a straight line, okay? What you see on social media, even my videos, everybody's videos, right? Because I can't give context for every little thing in every single video, right? When I make $23,000 net profit, I can't spend 20 minutes sharing every single one of my wins and losses and failures. I try my best to sprinkle in tips in these videos, but this is what you all have to understand. It's a journey and you're gonna go through storms. You're either, in business and in life, Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. You're either going into a storm or you're coming out of a storm. And I feel like this applies for all areas of life. Health, success, life, business, finances, all different things in life, right? You're either going into a storm or coming out of a storm. And in business, it is so true, right? You're either figuring something out or you just overcame something or you're trying to overcome this massive problem and issue. And this is the biggest problem I see in the entrepreneurship community, the Amazon community, the reselling community, is people, they want success without the problems. And they feel so entitled that, want to know what? I'm working hard, right? I learned, I watched a couple videos, right? I went through a course, right? I'm applying myself. I'm consistent. I should get the result because they got the result, because Greg, because Steve, because of John, of Heather, they all got the result. Why can't I? But you don't see all the trauma, all the challenges, all the problems, all the ups and downs that they all went through to get to where they are today. And you don't even know all the different issues they're still dealing with. Like, for example, I could go on for an hour talking about all the amazing things in my business, but also some of the challenges and the risks and the amount of money that I have to have and the deactivated listings and the returns and the uncertainty, right? A lot of people, they want certainty. They want 100% guarantee that if I put in this much work and I put in this much blood, sweat, and tears, that the result is going to equate to that. And I'm sorry, that just isn't the way it works, right? Entrepreneurship's all about solving problems and taking risks. If it was so easy, everybody would do it. The reason why everybody doesn't do it is because there's no guarantee. Most people want to clock in, put in their time, guaranteed pay, and they know if I show up and I'm here for 8 hours, I get that pay. When it comes to business, it's not the way it works. I hate to break it to some of you guys, but it's not just a matter of following the steps and hiring a virtual assistant and signing up for Replane Catcher and doing eBay to Amazon or going to a thrift store or sending in this amount of books. You could have all the tools at your disposal, right? I know my numbers down to a T with Sellerboard, and I've got all the tools, the bells and whistles. I've got a team of 9 people helping me now in my Amazon business. And you want to know what? There's still struggles, there's storms, there's problems, there's issues. And it's funny, when I shared that I had my record month of 23,000, I mean, I felt like I was on cloud nine, but this month it went down to 16,000 because I had some issues. I had some returns. I had some deactivated listings. I had some problems. I had some issues. I had some bottlenecks that I had to overcome. You know, I had some issues with the prep center not checking in stuff fast enough, Amazon not checking in fast enough. I mean, there's all these different moving pieces that, you know, equate to the results that you get. So again, I know I'm going crazy right now, but the point I want to make is if you're watching this video and maybe you're only making $100 a month, or maybe you're new, or maybe you're someone who's doing 15, 20,000 a month in net profit like I am. What I want everybody to understand here is it's a journey and it's not a straight line, and there's no such thing as just going from 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. Yes, there's probably people out there who have done it, all because 1 out of 1,000 is able to do it. You can't just take that anomaly and, you know, turn it into, oh, that's a fact right there, right? On average, businesses are going to go from 1,000 to 2,000 profit to 1,500 to 3,000 to 1,000 to 5,000 to maybe 4, then to 7. And then sometimes you could go from 7 to 15 or 7 to 20 and you're like, holy crap. And it drops back down to 5 or 6. So guys, this is entrepreneurship. This is why we all really have to stay centered. And we have to say to ourselves, I tell myself all the time in my business, reselling, whether it's, you know, building software, different things. Number 1, solve problems. Okay. Number 2, add value. Number 3, try to make a difference with the products or what you're selling. And then number 4, just immerse yourself in the process. Figure out what's 1 + 1 that equals 2, right? What's the thing that you have to do or figure out, or the problem that you have to overcome? Do it. And if that equals the result, if that's your formula, just keep doing it. But it doesn't always mean 1 + 1 is going to equal 2. But on average, 60, 70, 80% of the time, 1 + 1 equals 2. Again, in this weird little example that I'm making. So trust the process. That's the point I'm trying to say. If, you know, sometimes you go to the thrift stores and you get skunked, sometimes 1 + 1 equals 3, right? But if you go to the thrift store on average and you've got the tools and you understand things and you're consistent and you build relationships, normally 1 + 1 is going to equal 2, where you go to a thrift store, you scan a certain amount, you find a certain amount of products, you make a certain amount of money. The same with eBay to Amazon flipping, right? Or any reselling business. I know if my team and I log into Replay and Catcher, we send in a certain amount of products, if we keep our ASP at a certain price, if we keep our ROI at a certain price, we are going to make money after returns, issues, lost shipments, blah, 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 the whole entire story. So trust the process, solve problems, trust the process, immerse yourself in the process. Know that there's going to be good days and bad days. As cliche as it sounds, it's not a straight line. It's not just going from $1,000 to $20,000 net profit. And, you know, again, at the end of the day, it takes time to become successful. However you want to define success, right? I always try to say this in the videos, but my success doesn't need to be your success, and your success doesn't need to be my success. There's people out there where $500 a month for someone who's maybe retired, and, you know, someone like my mom making an extra $1,000 a month at 71 years old, retired, where Social Security is crap, is an absolute blessing and game changer for my mom. And she's still selling on Amazon. Matter of fact, she does eBay to Amazon now because the thrift stores kind of stink in our area, I'll be honest with you, and the issues with books and different things. So she flips a lot of media, board games, different things like that. But, you know, for some people, 500 to $1,000 is a game changer. For other folks like myself, I really need to be making $10,000 to $15,000 net profit per month to make it worthwhile for me. And, you know, I'm blessed and lucky enough to have the capital and the team and just the knowledge, and to have been able to get punched in the face 692 times on Amazon and still be here and have a nice, clean, healthy account, clean as a whistle. And, you know, I'm grateful. So everybody has a different definition. I meet people when I went to the Miami Seller Conference, people would laugh and just kind of like, don't talk to me. You're making $10,000 to $15,000 a month. Don't talk to me. I'm in Miami. I make $10,000 to $15,000 a minute. But you know what I'm saying. I'm joking. But yeah, just want to bring this video to you guys. Let me know if this video was helpful, or if you guys have any questions. You know, I love interacting. Unfortunately, it just seems like nowadays it's a ghost town in the Amazon world, because Amazon's gotten a lot harder. It's more challenging. And we live in a world where, I hate to see it, people, they just want success for very little work. We live in a world where people, they're entitled. They don't want to risk much money. They don't want to risk much time. They want it to be easy. They want it to be simple. They want it to be 1 + 1 = 2 every single time with a 99.6% success rate. And nowadays people just, they don't want to put 6 to 12 months in to get punched in the face and get no results and have nothing. But then, even though there's a massive, huge, insane upside after 8, 9, 10 months. People don't want to hear about that. So that's the cool thing nowadays is if you have that mental fortitude, if you've got that grit, if you are, if you've got that dog inside of you and you're hungry for success and you put in that work and you're able to figure out ways to kind of sustain yourself as maybe while your business doesn't make much money, there's so much opportunity. I mean, I'm living proof of it. Of course, some of you guys aren't going to believe me because you're like, this guy's been doing it for 10 years. But, the same thing happened when I got into, the software space and, building software. There was no need for me. There was no space for me. There were established softwares already, and I busted my butt and made no money and invested tens of thousands of dollars for a very, very long time, getting nowhere because I had a belief and I had a hunger inside of me that, you want to know what? I'm going to build something better than anybody else. I'm going to create something that makes a difference. And you want to know what? Some people still probably don't like it, but I know some people are in love with some of the things that I build and create. But the point I'm trying to make is to share with you that you got to have faith and you got to bust your butt and be willing to sacrifice for no reward. And I know not everybody's in that position, and some people are like, Steve, I could barely pay my bills and I'm working 2 jobs and I got multiple kids, and I can't relate to that. So obviously there's context, and I only know what I know, but there's opportunity out there. But I just see a lot of people who are just giving up way too soon when I know they could be crushing it. They're 1,000 times smarter than me. They've got every ability to be successful. They just don't give themselves a chance. And that hurts. It really does, because I care about you guys and I want to see you successful. But enough rambling, guys. Much love. Appreciate you. See you in the next video.
Looking for a peace of mind. I've been trying to redefine life. I can see the signs. Word is going, see me